Next up, Mr. Repay.
It would be Lake County Parks with Three Rivers County Park. If you recall, we purchased in conjunction with Lake County Parks, the environmental center that helped with our rock ripple dam and Lake Station. And they have a master plan, at least that's how they would like to build it and attach their trails and other things and open up the boat launch that we built in that area. So this is an application for some of the funding to fix that area up and make it not such a dead end. So with that, hopefully Larry, I didn't steal all your thunder. Larry, Jesus, and Jim, and my brain is going to Larry. Well, Larry, you could be Larry today.
Yeah.
I'll be Larry. It's been a long day.
Dan did know my name, Jim LaSalle, I'm the CEO, never better you than me.
Yeah, oh well.
And there are some pictures, and Dan, and well, I'll call you.
Oh, man, you could call me Larry, I don't.
If I would be Larry, I'm gonna call you Bob.
You could call me Larry. Paul calls me a bunch of things. Right.
This has been a great project that we've been working with you folks on. And in the back is a conceptual drawing that we had done by Hitchcock Design Group out of Naperville. To kind of give you an idea where our brains are going. But the first thing we need to do is get rid of all the buildings that are there. Because it is not safe to open. The buildings are broken into. There's a greenhouse. There's broken glass everywhere. And so our first priority is to get the place cleaned up. And then our second is to replace the fence at Liverpool, which is a beaten down chain link fence. We'll replace it. There's some drawings. I didn't bring a picture, unfortunately. But if you've been by the grist mill at Deep River County Park, it's basically 6x6 posts, two 2x10 boards. It'll theoretically keep people out of there from driving in. But it's gonna look better than some piece of chain link that can obviously be cut. And we have troubles with ATVs and golf carts, you name it. People want to access the trails at the conventional side of Three Rivers, along with getting the Bellevues and walking the trails. Once we get it cleaned up, put a fence in, we'll put a gate in, we'll electrify it so that we can open up the boat launch at 5 o'clock without my park manager having to get up too early. You know, then that'll be access in the morning to that boat launch. I'm sure you know that Shirley Hines, they are installing a boat launch via grants in New Chicago. So you'll have Riverside Park and Lake Station, New Chicago, there'll be a boat launch, and then there'll be us right before the top of the ripples. We see lots of people already accessing the facility. The costs are in there from Delta. It's about 114 grand for demolition. We've already done an asbestos review. There is a minor bits of asbestos in these buildings, as you would suspect, for something from the 60s. Not much, but it'll be able to be disposed of properly in the proper landfill. And then we have the quote to do the fence from Hammond Fence. The whole total is about 184 that we're requesting. My crew has already started doing some cleanup. We put some money into it. We'll put some money in to match the grant we have coming from Shirley Hines, which will then pay from Liverpool to where your paving stopped at the boat launch. And that's the quick, dirty story.
And I apologize.
I have a quick and dirty question.
Name, sure.
How did you come up with the percentage of the funding request, 82%?
Basically based upon what we're matching from Shirley Hines. Your graph, I guess you say we're asking for a good portion, 100% match from you folks. We've, and this is in our conversations with Dan and others, you have access to more cash than we do. To be, particularly for capital projects, you know, most of ours goes to operations. And to get this done and to move it up the priority list compared to what all the other things we have going on, we need the funding to get it done.
Why is this bubbling up on your list? Why is this bubbling up on your list?
It's bubbling up on our list.
It's bubbling up on your list. We're getting requests and comments from people in Lake Station. And we want to get it removed. I was ready to have my crew come in and just knock all the buildings out of these piles. because people are breaking in now. There's more graffiti.
With the activity that's we created on
Yeah.
Lake Station side, they're going over the bridge and now all of a sudden they're going into a forest and with a bunch of buildings and opportunities to do some things.
And Lake County Parks owns the buildings.
Well, that was a part of the deal. How many acres is that? 70 something?
We gave them all the acres from Liverpool all the way up to the park
The belt.
as a part of spending all this money right there.
Correct.
Okay, due diligence didn't sniff that out?
Well, we knew it was there,
Oh,
but we didn't know the conditions of the buildings. And to be quite honest, when we first went into them, the city of Gary basically locked the doors. There were mounts, there were microscopes. It had been walked away from. And in the time from when that project was completed till now, most of that is gone. The doors, we boarded up buildings, and people have broken in. There's also there's a video online, is it the Steel City something? These guys go around in the old buildings and videotape it. And they went in, videotaped what was in the buildings and put it on YouTube. Well, that was the major marketing for, let's go into these buildings, because, they were pristine. But then as we get into them, the floors are rotted, there's a tree through the one room. These are actually portable buildings that were brought in. I mean, classic 1960 school expansions, and they just set them down on concrete piers and
so this is straight up demo of these dilapidated buildings.
demo and gone.
That's it.
And fencing?
So there's a boat launch in there, so I'm getting.
We can't get to the boat launch right now.
Yeah,
You can't. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's there then.
yeah, and as I said, in my personal opinion, my staff's is, we're not gonna open up the site until it's safe and people aren't going in there even for a boat launch.
Right, so after the demo, is something gonna happen from parks to be able to enhance it, to be able to open it up so the boat launch can be used?
Yeah, we'll put a gate in, it'll be electrically controlled, and we will pave from Liverpool to the boat launch. There's paving there, but it's not what I call high quality paving. We could get there, but we'll mill it, repave it, and then we'll go right on in. And they'll be able to go to the boat
It's
launch.
obviously a big boat launch, it's more like a kayak. launch.
It's a kayak, yeah.
So it's right here, yeah, it's at right along the river because it's.
That's a pretty-
brand new, you can't get in.
And
So,
are you on Google Earth?
yeah.
So you see originally like that road came in
Mhm,
and then it did a big loop to drop off the buses, and there's a lot of pavement there.
mhm.
There are also trails going that were originally there that we mowed and opened up going to the west and to where the greenhouses are on the south. We'll get those up when they're open now, but we'll reopen them some more, and people will do what they're starting to do already is walk the trails, get around the lake by Bellevue, walk the
Yeah,
pavement.
back there.
Yeah, and then this is a very nice piece of property. It's got some problems with invasive species we have to deal with. Yeah,
Heard a little
shock. No frag, just Oriental bittersweet. Sports stuff.
Hill bug.
So anyway, that will get it open, and our long range plans is to build an environmental center and to do more as a physical presence. And that's just gonna take, again, it takes funding and resources to get
Think
that.
that run out of the other park instead of building a new park? With more on the north side, kind of where the bridge is, you just want to put another structure down there.
We would put a new environmental center kind of on the north side of this property and where we are now. Trying to see where
The
you're.
problem is you can't build on our side because you don't want to be,
Okay,
In a-
on our
in a
side, they got a
floodway.
bunch of land where all those maintenance buildings are, growing popcorn over there. Right.
closer to the.
Not enough space to do that and a parking lot. The conceptual drawing is simply that, a conceptual drawing. And
Right.
when we get to an environmental center, it is our goal not to just build your standard run-of-the-mill nature center, but to do something. I'm gonna call it Disney-like, something that takes people who are not interested in nature and gets them excited. So you're talking more digital, more electronics, more involved, and that's gonna be a big project. That's not
Access
gonna
there, coach, is not very easy, I'll tell you that,
go from Central.
or driving anywhere.
No, we are centrally isolated.
In the middle of everything, right?
Which, and honestly, it provides a sense of security that we wouldn't have if we were accessible from all four sides. And that's been our our case. We have fought access to Bellevue since the day we opened and telling people where it's at. You talk about the 2008 flood, it came within 6 inches of the doors of Bellevue's, we were constructing it. And so,
And that all goes to building an entrance with those properties that are in between. What is that, Central and what comes in?
yeah, right along the Little Cal, which is right there in kind of a very small ditch, right?
At the confluence, at the confluence,
Yeah,
I'm looking at it.
yeah,
yeah.
There's corrugated culverts there too.
yes, sir.
Well, typically when the house.
So this is the demo one though, right? And then you're gonna come back for the next part?
Yeah.
So this is taking care of all this dilapidated stuff, because
And then we'll come back, because I know Dan and I have talked about having another paved trail that comes off of the bridge on our side of the river. And then connecting down to what we have and providing some more connections. My path has been in conversations with NERC about connecting the bike trail heading west underneath 65 and then tying into
Martin Luther King,
Martin Luther King.
which
Yeah.
would connect our trails to everything else in Lake Station,
Mhm.
I got a dumb question.
but that's.
okay, go ahead.
Just looking at the numbers, if I add, looking on attachment 3 here, but just add up all of the ad numbers, the cost, I get 263. Forget about the grant from Shirley Hines, and it says balance from Little Cal River Basin, 35,000. So I guess if I add up all of the costs, I get 263, actually 264.
Well, I checked my math several times and every people did too.
Well, it says balance from Little Cal, so it sounds like we're paying 184 plus 35. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the total cost of it.
Oh, is the ask inclusive of the 35?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, basically.
No, I
the
mean,
first
I
section
wasn't
is-
asking for anything more than the 184.
But there's a 35 that says balance from Little Cal 35.
That could be a typo. Shirley Hines.
That's 40,000. So the top section is 70,500. The middle section is 118,500. That's 190. Sorry,
Yeah, well-
188, 189. And then.
Right,
add
but
another
we're not
75.
asking for the full amount because we're gonna be pitching that.
Right, but the full amount is 189 plus 75, that's 264.
Yeah, we're only asking for what we're asking for, which is the 184. How that ended up that way,
So,
No.
so you're still 40,000 short or 35,000 short?
Total project cost, less the grant money,
That's 220.
44.
The other one, 180.
Mm-hmm.
But the 35 says.
that could be a typo. It should be Lake County Parks,
Okay,
because we are gonna match it, and that's just the typo on my part.
okay. Okay, so the 35,000, it says Little Cal should
If
be
you want to give me two.
Lake County.
Okay.
No, that's what, I was thinking, are we giving 219? 184.
The 184.
So the county's got some skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so okay, that balance that says from Little Cal is actually from Lake
Yeah.
County.
And our match with the Shirley Hines or whoever may be in-kind service and everything else we're doing. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Every dog is-
Thank you, sir.